Hey, it's the right Rican, and excuse my voice. I'm finally starting to get better, but my voice comes and goes. So bear with me while I record this video today. All right. So the Supreme Court sided with a football coach who lost his job because he was praying at the 50-yard line after games. Okay. Um, I'm going to first go with my personal experience playing sports, playing baseball, playing football. Um, I played baseball in high school and I played um, football in college. And I could tell you, um, the people who prayed after games, they prayed together. Sometimes, like in the when we played college football, uh, some of the Christians from both teams would meet at the 50-yard line to pray together. Um, Sometimes, even in some instances, they would actually come together before the game and pray for everyone, make sure there was no injuries. Um, so, this is not. Here's what's going on. We have a society that wants to reject God. Okay, and in its rejection of God, they want to reject people who believe in God. Okay, so that's why this guy got fired, in my opinion. Okay, is the fact that people look at religion as something that's archaic or whatever, but it's something that unites people, and it's like I said, you say you had opposing teammates come together to pray either before or after a game. That's unity among people who are about to compete against each other. Um, but what I want to show you and what I mean by this is I want you to see some of these headlines, and some of them are perfectly fine. Um, Believe it or not, well, not surprising, but one of the worst ones. Um, Excuse me. One of the worst ones was this one here. Um, Here's the one of the worst ones. This here is from CNN. Look, you can see here Supreme Court rules former coach in public school prayer case. A Supreme Court backs football coach who lost his job after midfield prayers. Supreme Court sides with high school football coach. Supreme Court sides with coach over prayers. CNN. Supreme Court further erodes separations between church and state. Irony is, you have here Jerkin Tubin, or some people call him Lubin Tubin, who, is the last person that should be talking about this stuff. But they don't understand what the separation of church and state means. The separation of church and state just means the state doesn't get to favor one religion over another. That's all it means. The the founding fathers and the people who came to this country fled England, that has had one church. It had the Church of England, and that was the only church you were allowed to practice in. Okay, they came here to flee that. So the for the most part, the fathers were either religious people or what you call deists, people who believed in God. They just didn't believe in the church. So this is that. So now they had. So when they did the whole separation of church and state, it wasn't that the fact that the church couldn't influence the government, but it was that this government can't influence the church because you don't want to sanction a government sanctioned church, which is totally different. Which people's like, what's the difference? The difference is you could have different religions for people who run for office. Okay, it doesn't matter whether they're uh, Pentecostal, Jehovah Witness, um, Mormon, Islam, Muslim, Jewish. It doesn't matter, but their values are going to be represented, are going to be influenced by their religion. Now, people go like, "Oh, but that shouldn't have a say in government." Well, yes and no. Most of people forget that we've grown up in a Judeo-Christian society. Our values come from our faith. So to say that, um, I know these atheists. I've had these conversations that atheists think that there's universal concepts, but there really isn't. Because if there was a universal concept to "thou shalt not murder," then it wouldn't matter what society you lived in. There wouldn't have been, um, let's say, for example, you wouldn't have child sacrifice in some societies if you believed in "thou shalt not murder." I mean, it's one of the whole things is, the Abrahamic faith is when um, when God tells Abraham to sacrifice Isaac, and last minute God spares him and gives him uh, a scapegoat, so to speak, to sacrifice, and to end human sacrifice. It was a slap in the face to all the other uh, quote unquote religions of the time that called for these things. Um, But what this having to do with this guy here is the guy's not making his players pray with him. He goes to the 50-yard line. Whoever wants to come pray with him, prays with him. That's not the that's that's no place for the government to be. Okay. If the guy wants to do that after a game and there's other players, let's say on both teams that want to come together and pray at the end of a game, that's not the government um sanctioning one religion over another. Okay. It's just letting people practice their faith. That's all it is. But people want to act like this is endorsing religion, but it's not, because there's different Christian faiths. You got multiple Protestant religions, you got Catholicism. If we all agreed on what the scripture said, there would be one faith. There'd be one. We'd all be Catholic like it was back in the day, but we're not. Okay. Um, so with that being said, um, you got to understand. You see, like this article, this headline right here, and it. This is not journalism. This is activism, because it's not reporting the news, it's reporting how they feel on what the news is. See, it says here, this doesn't say a opinion piece. It says here, CNN politics. This title should be an opinion piece, not the news. And that's the problem. Like, you know, I'm pretty sure if you read some of these stories, they'll talk about it. And I can't click on all the stories, but and read. I'm not going to read all the stories, but just reading the headlines, and that's the worst of the headlines, because there is no neutrality is in it. There is no reporting the news. Um, where, like I said, where this one's perfectly fine. Supreme Court rules for former coach in public school prayer case, and that's it. That's why they felt the need to fire him for praying after a game. I don't understand. I don't know understand what this country is coming to, where you can't what you can't pray in public. Is that what the separation of church and state is going to mean now, that you have to do every all your religious stuff in private, that you can't be public about it? Because if that's where we're going, it's a really dark place our country is going. I don't care if you're religious or not. but to um, put people into the closet with their faith, you know, is this pretty disgusting thing to do. No one should have to. Um, no one should have to worry about being fired for saying something they believe, whether it be faith, whether it be political, like Jack Del Rio getting fined. That was bullshit. Okay, you shouldn't for having your own opinion on a topic. You should not be, even if it's something extreme, even if it's something like you know um some disgusting white supremacist Nazi uh talking point that people believe. You gotta let them. you know Sunlight's the best disinfectant. And if you let these people scour the corners of the internet, they that's the way they grow. You gotta let them say their piece and show how stupid they are. Same way, like with this guy. This guy showed how stupid the school was for firing him just for praying. We need to come. I talked on my show last week. I said, I don't care what faith you believe in, but there has to be a come to God moment if we want to heal the division in this country. It's not going to heal by voting Republican or Democrat. Uh, it's going to heal when we turn to God. Whichever faith you believe in, we have to go back to a sense of something bigger than ourselves instead of being selfish. Um, Thinking, like, I had the conversation about the Supreme Court on Friday with the abortion case. And, abortion is one of the most selfish things that someone could do, because you're killing a human life just because the fact that, you'll say, "Oh, I'm not ready to be a parent. I'm not ready financially, blah, blah, blah." You're being selfish. You took the risk. You failed because now you're pregnant. And the fact that you're just going to kill it just because the fact that you can't afford it or whatnot, that's you know that's wrong too. And but, like, before people jump down my throat, I do believe, uh I'm not against abortion, and that, and in the sense that, I give you a time, because not everyone's going to believe what I believe. But at the same time, there is a point where we all have to agree when it's when you're killing a baby, and that it's not just a fetus. We all come to some sort of agreement with that. The problem is that, Democrats went from safe, legal, and rare to, celebrate your abortion, to um, celebrate, announce your abortion up to birth. All these things are sick. It's a sign of a sick society, that if you're going to promote your abortion like it was a good thing, you took a life. Whether you want to accept it or not, you took a life, a potential life. So, anyways, let me not keep going into it with there, but with this case, um, what's the dangerous thing is 6-3, and the three justices. Um, Sad to say, the Puerto Rican judge, Sotomayor, my peeps. She's one of the most radical justices in this court. Um, her opinion on this and some of these other cases is, it goes here, Justice Sotomayor writing that the three liberal dissenters said the court weakens The establishment cause backstop protecting religious freedom. It ev- elevates one's individual's interest in personal religious exercise in the exact time and place of that individual's choosing over society's interest in protecting the separation between church and state, avoiding eroding the protections of for religious liberty for all. Bullshit. I mean, just read that sentence. It's full of shit. It's like um we're supposed to be about the individual in this country. We're not supposed to be about the collective. But that tells you what where her philosophy and lies, and the other three liberal justices is that the collectivists, and it elevates one individual's interest. Well, if they're there and they're not alone and there's other people praying with them, then what? What if some parents would have came? What if some students would have came to pray with him? Then it's not just one individual's personal religious exercise. That's none of the school's business if people want to pray with him. There's, but that, that's the whole problem is that if they're gonna do that, there's no reason for the school to fire someone for doing that. It says here, he began his prayer ritual soon after he was hired in 2008, but the school district grew concerned when Kennedy's short, quiet prayers grew in 2015 as players began joining him on the field, all while the crowd was still in the stands. Why? Why? Why does that matter? If other players, other Christian players wanted to come out and vote with him, if he's not forcing these kids to come out, then what the hell's what's wrong? Where's the law being broken? Is that these people want to take this away from religious people? You want to see why you want to know why the Democrats are losing Latinos? This is why. Justice Sotomayor may be Puerto Rican, but she's all leftist. Really sad. Um, but most Latinos are religious people, and whether we're Catholic, whether we're Protestant, non-denominational, whatever, we're people who heavily believe in faith. That's why we don't go for none of this Latinx nonsense. The people that you see doing it, who are celebrities, like J Lo and AOC, that pushing this nonsense. People who their faith is themselves, is their egos. So, anyways, I'm gonna leave it there. Hoping you could hear me. I know my voice has been up and down. Um, please like and subscribe. I realize I forgot to put my banner. So here we go. Please like and subscribe to the channel, whether you're watching me on YouTube or Rumble. Um, and you can interact with me on social media. Finally on Truth, because Truth finally opened up their website. And let me know what you guys think in the comment sections and or on social media. That being said, have a good one.